Good morning for all of you. So today we are going to talk about today is the very first lecture of the system analysis and design course module. So we are unable to meet physically, but anyway, it's easier for you all to first, once you complete these modules, so once the strike is over, we can meet and do more tutorials physically and practicals physically. So it will easy for you to get through on this. So first unit is the information for management. So we are starting the very first lecture, that is system analysis on the course module, system analysis and design. Okay, so let's go through with this module. First one is information for management. So what are the things you all know so far? What is data? What is information? What are the types of information? What are the types of data? We will be discussing these entire things during this lecture. As the first task, we will be discussing data and information, types of the information. We will be categorizing these into few categories. One is the operational, other one is the tactical. Last two will be the strategic and the statutory as well. Other than that, as the second point, we will be discussing on this lecture, why do we need information system and the management structure, requirements of information at different levels of management. So, okay, I'll skip this slide because you can read and get through. These are the few things which we are going to cover up during this entire lecture. The third one would be the functional allocation of management, requirements of information for various functions. And then the fourth one will be the quartiles of informations. And the last one is the varieties of informations as well. Okay. Then the motivation, these are the motivation why we have to learn about these things. Why we have to learn about this information for management part. Here, I have mentioned few motivations for those things. And then at the end of this lecture, you will be able to get through these things. Those are the learning goals. Once you complete this entire module, you will be able to identify the distinction between the data and the information, description of the types of information, whether it's tactical, operational, strategic, statutory. Likewise, these are few learning goals. Okay. Now we will be moving to the very first lecture. Actually, the lecture. So from the fourth slide itself. Okay. Now my question is, what is the difference in between this data and the information? What are the things you know? Just think a bit and find out the answer by yourself. What is data and what is information? What are the differences in these two? Okay. So when it comes to data, data means actually raw materials. Okay, data means actually the raw materials, what we call those ones. Then these are the raw materials. Okay, then what we have, when it comes to data, data collection costs money. As you all know, so though you are in very first year, you also have to do a research on fourth year. Though you selected to do business, the Bachelor of Science, Computer, Information Technology degree, BSc in IT degree or else any other degree, you have to, if it's a 4-year one, you have to do the research as well. You have to start it actually on your 3rd year, and then you have to complete it at the end of the 4th year. I think that's the case. So when you started to do this research, anyway, I think you have to collect some data, right? We have to analyze those data, and we have to find out new things on about this data. So for this data collection, for a research purpose, so any kind of thing, this data collection actually costs money. Not only that, data collect only necessary and sufficient data. When it comes to data, we have to have a good knowledge to collect only the necessary and the sufficient data. Otherwise, we will not be able to find out the correct actual data. And as the third point, you may have to know that the data is generally used by machines. And as the last point, we have data is useless unless it is produced to create information. So now actually data means raw materials. Now, what do we mean by information? Information is actually the unprocessed data. Information is actually the unprocessed data. So, එහෙම බැලුවොත් actually the data means we can call it as unprocessed data. For the information, we can say it as processed data. අපි data වලට සිංහලෙන් කියනවා දත්ත, අමු දත්ත. Right? අපි data වලට කියනවා අමු දත්ත. Okay, අමු දත්ත. But for the informations, we call them as thora thuru. In Sinhala, we call them as thora thuru. Harida thora thuru. So informations, what do we have? Data processed by machines giving information. Anyway, information means processed data. Then this data processed by machines actually giving the information, and information is used to run an organization efficiently. These informations, we normally use those information to run an organization efficiently, and then this information used by managers to initiate these actions as well. Example of information needed by a shopkeeper. Okay. So what are the information if a shopkeeper has to keep? What do you think? What type of information he has to keep or he is needed? What are the things? When it comes to examples of information needed by a shopkeeper, so these are kind of few information he has to collect. Give me 1 minute. So here, these are kind of few examples of information needed by a shopkeeper. So daily sales count, he will be handling, and some list of low stock items to be recorded also. He will be handling, he need these informations, and the list of overstock items, long overdue payments, and profit and loss account. All these are actually coming as few examples of informations which needed by these shopkeepers. So these informations normally used to streamline day-to-day operations. So if you check on all these ones, these are kind of daily counts, daily sales accounts and the list of low stock items to be recorded, to be reordered. It's also maybe sometimes day-to-day operations related one, and the overstock items and long overdue payments and the profit and the loss accounts. All these ones are actually some kind of day-to-day operations. So these type of informations, we call them as operational information. For these type of information, we call them as operational information. That is it. Okay. Okay. Then what do we have? Example of information needed by a shopkeeper. Again, we are continuing a few what we call these few scenarios. These ones are coming under the tactical information. So tactical informations means, for example, slow or fast moving items, okay, and maybe some reliable supplier of items, and maybe sometimes sales trends. These are kind of few tactical informations which we use to improve the profitability of the shop. So earlier we learned about the operational information. Operational informations normally used to streamline the day-to-day operations. And second one we learned is the tactical information. Why we use this tactical information, how we use this technical informations actually to use these ones are why we are using these ones, these tactical informations, that is to improve the profitability of the shop according to this scenario. And then we have another kind of set of informations. These kind of informations, we call them as the strategic information. Now, strategic information means what? What do you think? Strategic information means? Strategic information means, what do you think? So for the strategic informations means actually whether to stock different varieties of items, whether to diversify, whether to start a new branch in a different locality, whether to start an e-shop, information to expand business and explore new opportunities. So for these kind of information, we call them as actually what? Strategic information. At last, we have the statutory informations. We will be discussing these ones in detail later. For the statutory information, according to this shopkeeper scenario, we have examples as income tax account, sales tax account. These are kind of few examples. So normally, statutory information means actually why we use this information? We use this information to provide information to the government. Maybe tax related ones, sales tax related one, income tax account and all those details, relevant government details. So for those kind of information, we call them as statutory information. So we discuss those four information according to the shopkeeper scenario. Now what we'll have here, we have the types of information together. First one is the strategic, and then we have the tactical, and we have another two as operational and the statutory. Actually, the first one would be operational, then the second one would be tactical, third one would be strategic, and finally we should have the statutory one. So operational information means we needed those ones for day-to-day operations of the organizations, for example, daily sales, daily billing counts, and etc. And for the tactical one, we needed to take short range. We needed to take short range or else decision to improve profitability and the performance. Again, a profit related one, performance related one. And for the strategic one, normally we needed for long range planning and directions, because earlier we had the operational one, it's day to day. But here for the strategic one, it's not like day to day, daily basis one, it's kind of a long range one. Needed for long range planning and directions. This is less structured. And finally, we have the statutory one. Those ones, why we need these ones? We need these ones actually needed by law to send to government authorities. For example, we have the sales tax return. That's what we have up to this point. Is it clear now? Okay, there's no one to respond now. I hope you, all of you are clear on this topic up to this point. Let's continue with the rest. Now here we have the management hierarchy and the information needs. Management hierarchy and the information needs. So all these previous theories are in a single slide, okay? In a single slide as a summary. In a single slide as a summary. So here we have the volume of information. Then we have the type of information. So for the volume of information, we have low, medium, and large. Okay, low, medium, and large. On the top managers, there we don't have much information. For the middle managers, there also we don't have much information. But in a line managers, they have all the large detailed reports. And for the types of information, top managers, normally top managers uses the unstructured ones. And for the middle managers, they are using moderately structured one. And the bottom line managers normally use the highly structured informations. So top managers, they are concerning about the strategic, long range planning. And for the middle managers, they are considering about the tactical, which means the kind of a short range improvement. They need, it's not a daily one, maybe it's monthly, yearly, quarterly, likewise. For the line managers, operational one, they are working on day-to-day policies. That's what we learned so far. Is it clear for you all? Okay. Then we'll continue with the rest. So here what you have to do, if you check on these ones, so for these ones, then what you have to know for the need for information system. So earlier what we discussed was up to this point. What we discussed up to this point, actually, we discussed all these four types of informations, and then how the volume works, whether the data volume is increasing or whether the volume is decreasing, and how who are the responsible person, whether it's top managers, middle managers, or the line managers, and strategic, tactical operations, how these ones are working. All these ones we discussed up to this point. Now, then we are going to move about the need for these information systems. Why we need these information systems when we are handling such kind of what we call company, business, organization, or example. So increasing size of organizations, thus data volume increases. So increasing size of information, thus data volume increases. Why we need these information systems nowadays? The size of the organization is kind of increasing, and also the data volume also is increasing. And then timely processing for fast action. We have to uh, have proper timeline to process these data for a kind of a fast action. And then the third one, better competitiveness with better information. Since nowadays it's kind of a very competitive business scenarios, business organizations we have. So for better information and to get through kind of few information, then what we have these planning decisions. For all these ones, we want these informations. Increasing of complexity of organizations require innovative processing. And then we have the distributed organizations. And finally, another reason, another need for these information systems is the same data can be processed in different ways. Okay, those are kind of few examples. Those are kind of few examples of few reasons why we need these information systems. And now we have the management structure. For the management structure, at the bottom line, we have line managers who handle who works with the operational information, who handles the operational information. And then top of that, we have the tactical informations handling persons. Those ones are product managers, marketing managers, material managers, or the finance managers. And at last, in a company, we have the HR, human resource managers as well. These people are handling the tactical one, kind of a long-term, profitably related, those informations. At last, on the top of the management structure, there we have the chief executives. So those ones are handling this strategical information. Is it clear up to this point? Is it clear up to this point? Okay. Then we will be moving forward. Management structures continued. Now, as I told you earlier, at the top, we have the top management. There we might have chief executive officers or chief process officers, CPOs, CFOs, chief financial officers. So here what we have is actually for the management structures. If we are talking about these management structures, as for the first part, at the top of these levels, we have the top management. There we can have the CEOs, chief executive officers, and then we have the CPOs, chief process officers. So all these ones are coming under this top management. And then we have the executive directors for each functional areas, such as the production, finance, HRDs, etc. That's why I call them as the executive directors for each functional areas. So the chief executive ones are handling all these ones. Under that, below that CEOs, we have these executive directors. Normally, chief executives known as CEOs, and these executive directors may be, we have nowadays, we have for different purposes or the functional areas. For example, CFO means Chief Finance Officer, CPO, Chief Process Officer or Chief Production Officer. Likewise, we have so many positions. So these people are the people who take all these strategic decisions. On the middle management, there we have the general managers or the divisional managers or the vice presidents and etc. So for those ones, these each functional areas may have 2 to 3 middle level managers reporting to this top management. And also on this middle management, they normally take these tactical decisions. Earlier, the top managers took strategic decisions, and now the middle management people take these tactical decisions. And then we have the line managers. Line managers are the managers who are in the bottom line. So those line managers, normally group managers, assist group managers, assistant group managers, or the assistant managers. All these ones are coming under the line managers, and for each functional areas may have several line managers. And also those ones are reporting to middle level managers. So these people are handling day-to-day operations. Because of that, these people are taking operational decisions. Okay, now we learned about the line managers, and then we learned about the middle management, and finally we learned about the top management. So this top management normally handle the strategic decisions, and this middle management handle the tactical decisions, and this line managers handles the that's how it works. Okay, so for the line managers, okay, top management, middle management, and the line managers. That's all. Okay, so that's what it is. Now the management structure continued. Here we have the functional areas we are going to discuss. So when it comes to functional areas, we have the production, marketing, materials, purchase. So when it comes to materials, we have to handle purchase or the stores, and the finance. When it comes to finance, we have the accounts, and at last four, we have the human resource developments, HRDs, and then we have the now most of the companies, they have research and development sections as well, functional areas as well. Those are the functional areas which we have: production, marketing, materials, finance, and then the human resource developments, and finally we have the research and the development one. So functional areas, all organizations need not have identical in functional areas. So all these organizations normally might not have identical functional areas. Those functions may differ from one organization to another organization. However, some functional areas, some functions are common, such as marketing, finance, and HRDs, human resource and developments. Then for the strategic information, when it comes to production management, the strategic information, it would be yearly and monthly production quotas and alternate schedules, and the policies on machine replacement, arguments, and modernizations. These are kind of few strategic informations which it comes under the production management. Okay, production management functional areas. So where production management functional areas, when it comes to a strategic information, here we have the yearly and monthly production quotas and the alternate schedules, and the policies on machine replacement and the augmentation and the modernization works, and identifying best product mixtures. These are kind of few strategic informations coming under the production management. These are few tactical informations. Identify examples actually. So identifying and controlling areas of high cost. Identifying the critical bottlenecks in production. Identifying alternate production schedules based on tools, machines, and etc., and performance measures of machines to decide these replacement. And then we have the operational information, which is coming under this production management. There we have the monitoring up-to-date production information by examining assemblies, detecting likely storages, and giving early warnings. And then we have the scheduling better production dynamically and preventive maintenance schedules. And at last, we have the monitoring tool, machine, and personal availabilities as well. These are few operational informations coming under this production management. Okay, so we discussed for this these kind of scenarios for a production management. Here we have the operational information, then we have the tactical information, finally we have the strategic information. Now the marketing management. Earlier it was the production management. Now we have the marketing management. Again, for the marketing management, we have few separate informations. Marketing management, what are the strategic informations we have? Search for new markets and marketing strategies. And we have to analyze of competitors' strategies, and also the technology and the demographic forecasts and the product changes might these are kind of few informations coming under strategic informations when it comes to marketing management. These are tactical informations. Advertising techniques and analyzing of their impact, and customer preferences, surveys, correlation of prices and the sales force development and the targets, and exploring alternate marketing channels, timings of special sales, companions. These are kind of few tactical informations relevant to the marketing management. Marketing management, what are the operational informations? Now, this is kind of a circle. Can you circle in the sense? So earlier we discussed about the functions. Then what are the functional areas? Here we mentioned that we have the marketing, finance, and the HRDs as well. Now we are discussing one by one functional area. First one is the production management. There we discussed about the strategic information, technical information, and the operational informations. And then here we have, here I have mentioned about the marketing management. There we have again the strategic, tactical, and the operational information. Now it's about the material management in a business. So for a material management business, again, same set of informations, strategic, tactical, and the operational. And then we have the finance management. There also, we have the strategic informations. So under this strategic informations here, methods of financing, pricing policies, tax planning, all these ones are coming. And then we have the tactical information. They are the variations between budgets and the expenses, large outstanding payments or receipts matters, and the credit and the payment status, and cost increases and the pricing. And finally, we have the impact of the taxation on pricing as well. Okay, so that was about the tactical information. And then we have the operational information as well. So operational information, what we handle daily. Periodic financial report, budget status to all functional managers, tax returns, share transfers, profit and loss accounts, payments and the receipts, and payroll provident fund accounts as well. Now, at last, we are moving to the human resource management. Here again, we have all these three types of informations. One is the strategic information. The other one is the tactical information for human resource management. And then we have the operational information under human resource management. Okay. Then finally, we have the research, design, and the development management. Again, here we have strategic information and the tactical information and the operational information as well. That's all here we have up to this information management. Is it clear for you all? I'll give you all a 1 minute or 2 minutes so that you can just think about what we discussed today. Okay, so hope you all understand what it was, because now you all have the lecture note with you so that you can go through for the previous slides and check while you were listening to this recording. That's why actually I gave some time to refresh your knowledge. Okay. Okay, now we have the qualities of information. So when it comes to qualities of information, those information should be actually accurate. Not only that, those information should be complete, and also those information should be timely as well. So normally, how to ensure the quality for the accurate quality, the quality of the accurateness, then we have to ensure correct input and the processing rules we have followed. And then for the completeness, quality of the completeness, then we should have ensure that we include all the relevant data. Then for the quality of the timeliness, okay, for to do that, we have to ensure that we give at right time these informations. That's what we have to have. And not only that, we have to follow up the trustworthiness, relevantness, and the brief information as well. If it's trustworthiness, then we do not hide unpleasant information. We should not hide the unpleasant information. For the relevant ones, then we have to understand user needs as well. For the brief quality, then we have to summarize this relevant information as well. Okay. Then we have up-to-date quality and the significance quality as well. For the up-to-date one, we have to include all data up to the present time. Okay. And for the significance, for the importance or the significance, then we have to ensure that we have used attractive format and the graphical charts as well. That's what we have to learn. Okay. Then the varieties of the information systems. Now, what are the varieties of the information systems? Here we have business data processing is a one variety coming under this operational information. And then the management information systems, MIS, coming under this tactical information. And then we have the decision support systems, which is relevant to the strategic information. These are the varieties of the information systems. These are the three types of informations which we have. Then the business data processing system. How it works. If it's a system, if it's a business data processing system, how it works. We have to enter data to be processed. Then we have to edit, check, and input the relevant data. Check the input data. And as the third step, we have to control check to see if the data is correct and the reasonable. And at last, we have to store clean data as an organized data base in a storage. Now the business data processing. There are two methods of business data processing. I think you might have heard these ones. One is online transaction processing. The abbreviation, we normally use that for OLTP. And then we have the batch processing. These are the two separate business data processings coming under this. Then OLTP, online transaction processing, is normally used for query processing, okay, query processing and rapid actions to requests. Example, we can say that the finding balance in one's bank account or booking a railway ticket, we can say as few examples. For the batch processing, we should use for periodic data processing of massive data. For example, we have processing university exam results at the end of the each semester and the payroll computation each month as well. Finally, we have the online transaction processing, OLTP. What we normally do on this online transaction processing, maybe a database or the master file available online on disk, and request in specified format accepted from requester, and we might have to check request for validity, and maybe we have to retrieve records from database, and at last maybe we have to take some appropriate actions as well. Then for the batch processing, we have to collect a batch of requests and maybe key in and we have to validate, and we have to create these request files. We have to call these transaction files. We have to update master file using this transaction file. Not only that, finally, we have to create result files and print responses for request. All these ones we have to do it manually. This one is actually online thing. So here we have a few what we call the few comparison in between this online transaction process and the batch processing. Response time, the online transaction processing is fast, and throughput, number of transaction or the unit time matters. Batch processing, this is actually the batch processing is high, and in inquiry systems, there we have the online one. And for the periodic processings, there we have the batch. When it comes to periodic processing, maybe it's once a day, maybe it's once a month. So if it's a once a day, maybe stores issues matters for batch processing. Maybe it's once a month. For example, we can say payroll thing. All these ones are batch processing. And then the management information systems. If we talk about few things about management information systems, we have to analyze outputs of routine data processing using statistical or operations research tools. For example, maybe the observation periodic demands by a statistical analysis and use of tactical decisions. And then use operations research tools to decide product mix using demand and cost data to maximize the profit. And for the decision support systems, here we have unstructured and difficult to obtain precise information, use of analytical and simulation models, aids to conceptualize through graphs, animations, etc., and use of archival data to transfer trends and rules. And at last, when it comes to decision support systems, there we might have some artificial intelligence tools may be used as well. Okay. Now the decision support systems. On this decision support systems, there data mining a useful tool for these decision support systems. There we will be in next few lectures, we will be discussing what is data mining. What is data mining? And for the data collected during routine data processing, archived over a long period, massive amount, maybe it's terabytes. And then some hypothetical rules maybe matters, guesses by experienced managers. And then some hypothetical rules guessed by experienced managers and correlated with archival data called data mining. So all these ones are coming under decision support systems. For the decision support system, if we consider an example of data mining, there from archival data, what we normally do, a rule guessed by the managers that in some months there are long waiting lists for sleeper births in verified, that is data mining gives precise quantitative data. So for action, as per the actions, we can increase number of sleeper coaches or introduce special trains as well. So likewise, we have to have thorough idea about this data mining and the decision support systems as well. So unexpected results of analysis of archival data more valuable for decision support systems. That's all what we have for this lesson as the first lecture. This is kind of a theoretical lecture. What you can do, you can go through each and every slide by yourself, read all these ones, because all these informations are in here on this lecture slide. So there will be some tutorials to discuss all these ones and to apply these ones practically. So please participate for those practical tutorial classes as well. You might be able to, by participating in those ones, you might be able to study this actually in a good way or a better way. Okay. So that's all for the today's lesson. Thank you so much for listening actually. So please start studying these ones day as please make this as a day-to-day habit so that it will easy for you all to handle, because otherwise maybe sometimes for the first semester exams and the second semester exams will be have it in a at the end of this year. So which means you have to recall more subjects. So that's easy for you to, if you study these ones day by day, one by one, then it will be easy for you all to handle at the end. Okay. So these are the things what we discussed so far. I'm going forward. I'm going back from the last slide to the first slide so that you can see what are the things we just discussed. And if you have any questions, you can drop me a chat message through the LMS, or you can send me an email. Okay. That's what I have to say. Thank you so much for participating, or thank you so much for listening for this entire record. We will meet with the second lecture next day. Okay. Thank you so much. See you and stay safe.